Tonight I feel I'm giving birth. I've been pregnant for a year. It's a year ago I was in Peru doing these photographs, and it had just been going on, and tonight is culmination in the opening of this show, and it's a relief finally to have reached my goal, which I said, back then, to make a portrait story about Maximo Laura from Peru.
Akulia panchik nina tusuima, chankas mi kanchik, kausan rahmi yawarninchik. Rumi tapas, alpayachik mi kanchik. Puyo tapas, huahachik mi kanchik. Kausay ninchik harpanampa. Uyarikunya skarumanta antaranchikuna pahaparini musuq punchawta sapamuachkanchik yawarninchik siwaytanqa musuqmanta wiñaypaq apurimaqpa sunqunpi
Relámpago. Maitaj relámpago. Mai maña pasa. Relámpago.
Always fascinated by it, and I'm happy to see so much of it in one place. I met him about 4 years ago at the Bald Head Island, No Boundaries, I think 2004 it was. And he had some of his work there, but I didn't see this much of it all in one spot. And I'd love to be able to go to Peru and see the ones that are 15 feet tall. And he's very charming in person. The only Incan I know.
Show, I got really excited, and when I came down here I found out that some of the tapestries that the artists that Arrow was profiling were here on display, from Cincinnati. So I'm very excited. As you can see, the tapestries are here and they're absolutely gorgeous, and I don't think the show could have been the same without the tapestries, although the photos are incredible.
Thank you everybody for coming here tonight. No, the legend have it that it was a spider that taught man to weave, so he get clothes and get warm and make shelter for it to live. And down through generations, man have woven his life, tapestry and clothing and whatever. And in South America, in the Andes Mountains, the culture of weaving have existed for ages and ages. And Maximo, his family go back at least 5 or 6 generations where they have been craftspeople weaving. Maximo also became a weaver as a young man, but he turned his weaving into art. In 2003, Gail, Dick and Pam was at the art show and were little boards, and they walked across the street where there was another show, and they met Maximo and fell in love with Maximo and invited him to the No Boundary Art Colony for 2004. And that's where my web started, because that's where I met Maximo and fell in love with him and his tapestry, and have ever since dreamt about making it portrait tapestry of him. And finally, last year, my friend June Tilt and I, we went to Peru and visited Maximo for 5 weeks and traveled around, and this is what you see. That's what we brought home.
I've written so many of my thoughts down for y'all to read, but I don't think I got around to writing about the fact that the people in Peru were so gracious and friendly. I've never been hugged and kissed so much in all my life. And I missed it when we came home, because we don't all do that. We're not in the habit of, when you greet somebody, to hug them and kiss them like they do in Peru. I think it's a wonderful tradition, and we need to do a better job here in this country. And Maximo, he opened his home to us, he gave us a place to stay and provided for us, and just the generosity abound. And I cannot say enough about what a generous man this is. Even in his workshop, he could be weaving these tapestries by himself, but he's not. He's teaching many people to weave the way he weaves. And some of the people he's taught have gone off and done it on their own. And someone said, they're copying you. He said, it's okay. It's okay. He's very humble, an amazing man. And some of his designs are new to Peru. I mean, a lot of, like the manta on the wall over there, that's a pattern that's repeated over and over. Well, Maximo is designing patterns that are new to Peru, and he's giving them to his culture for them to copy over and over. Minnesota called Art Andes, and Melanie Ebert runs this gallery, and this is Melanie, and she and her friend Jeff drove down from Minneapolis with 6 tapestries for us to show here, and we are very grateful. And she goes to Peru often, so we're going to let her talk now.
Thanks, June. It's really a privilege to be here. My friend Jeff is with me, helps me run my business in Minneapolis, Art Andes. And I found out about Acme and No Boundaries from Maximo in Lima 3-4 years ago after his visit here. And so that's how our connection started. And I design textiles in Ayacucho, Peru, where Maximo is from. It's about 10 hours into the mountains from Lima. And that's his background, and I design more of a flat woven rug, a functional floor rug that we use, very finely woven, of natural dyes. And I have about 10 weavers in the Ayacucho area. And I added Maximo's tapestries to my line about 10 years ago. And I at first didn't know if I was so excited to work with Maximo because I liked more the grassroots thing that we were doing with our rugs, and there's also a nonprofit foundation connected to my work that I was able to start with the help of my father. And to work with Maximo, he seemed so successful and maybe not so necessary to have another outlet. But I noticed as I guide trips to Peru as well that people were really drawn to his work. So I finally looked him up, like I say, it was about 10 years ago, and I was so impressed with the type of person that Maximo is. Very generous, he's a mentor to many. This is an ancient craft that is always on the verge of being lost. He's taken it to the limits. His quality, preserving the mythology and his iconography and the technique of his work is stunning, and he is a museum quality weaver. But I think really what I wanted to just say here, what's really impressed me the most is the artists and the talent in this building, the warmth and the friendliness of the people is just makes us want to stay. Not just because it's cold in Minnesota, but really it's and the foundation project, No Boundaries, having the opportunity, like June and Arrow, worked with Maximo in a little bit different way. I have a business relationship with him and a close personal friendship, and knowing how a project like No Boundaries has impacted him, and him being able to pass it forward, that is something that I think is really incredible what's going on in this area here. And if not all of you know about No Boundaries, hopefully you'll know more. And not that I'm the one to tell you, but we were at an art opening last night, and I was surprised from one of the artists, MJ, in this building, that some people didn't know about Acme. And, hopefully you'll all spread the word if this is your first time here, because it really takes that. And the project No Boundaries, again, working with Maximo professionally, it's experiences like that, his opportunity to be there for 2 weeks, that have made him the generous person that he is. And that's what it takes from an indigenous, he's a Quechua indigenous person. There's been, a lot of, it's an impoverished country. The area where he comes from is, there's a lot of discrimination as well. So for a Quechua indigenous person to rise to the top like he has and work on bringing people along with him, it takes experiences like No Boundaries for that to happen. So I applaud you for having such a fine organization in your community, and I hope that it continues to grow and is supported. So, and thank you for having us here. We hope to be back.
show is finished. It's a job done. It's a chapter of my life, and now I'm ready to do something new.